Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Kindergarten YouTube channel. My name is Amanda and I'm an early childhood educator, and I like to use this YouTube channel to share different tips and tricks I have with other educators. And this week I wanted to share about Google Chrome and Google Drive, just to give some of the things that I've learned this past year doing distance or virtual learning, and give you some of my tips and tricks. I've been sharing a lot of my Tech Tip Tuesday posts over on Instagram. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But I wanted to take this opportunity to actually show it on video, because sometimes describing how to do it and reading about it is not as good as actually being able to see how to do things. And so this way I figured that if I made like a little short video giving you my best tips, would be a great way for you guys to get to see exactly how I effectively use Google in on my computer. And I use this not just for distance learning, I use this all the time. I have always used Google Chrome and things like that, and Google Drive and Google Docs and all that to do some online work. And so I thought I would share some of the things I've learned along the way. The first one is, you can see that my screen here has Google open, but it's actually got a nice pink background. If I'm going to be working on my computer and using my online time to work and do things like that, I want to make sure I like what I'm using. So I changed the theme of my background here. So you can see that there's a pink background, but also the top here changes color. So in order to do that, I would just go to my settings, and you can go to appearance and then themes. So right now I have the rose theme already installed, but you can look to see all the different kinds of themes that are available. So they have all kinds that are already here. You can search by dark themes, space, you can search by minimalist ones. Any of these that like look appealing to you, you can actually use them. So let's say you wanted to have, I don't know, this waterfalls one. You would just add to Chrome, and then it's going to install it, and then it will change your background to match the background of this waterfall. So you can see how it changed it. And now I would probably see this if I close my browser and reopen it. It has the waterfall theme in the background. So if that's something that you would like, you would change it to that. But you can also just have, I just like the minimalist setting of just having the rose color in the background. I just like the way that looks. So again, I'm going to go to my appearance. I'm going to go to themes. It opens it in a new tab. And then in order to search for the themes, I would just go back one. So I would look at the themes that are here. And then rose is just on the front, so I can just use this one. And then that way you can play around with it too. Maybe you put one that you think you're gonna like, and then it's not the one you like. So you see how easy it was to change that. Even if you want to change it monthly, super easy to change, and just something that I just like the look of. So that's the first thing, is changing your themes. Another one that I really like is making sure I have a lot of extensions built into my Google Chrome. So over here you can see all the extensions that I have installed on my Google Chrome. These are added little features that you can use while you're using the internet. So this one is a color picker, and I would just have to go, let's go to my blog to show it, because it won't do it on that website I was on. But let's say you're on a website and you really like a color that you see. I use this color picker, and you just go on top of a color and it'll give you like the codes that you need to use that color. Let's say if you're designing something, or if you're using something in Word or PowerPoint, you can use this color picker in order to get the codes you need to use that color in other places. So that's one of the ones I use the most. But as educators, there are some that I just really enjoy using and have made my life so much easier. The first one is called Tab Resize. And literally you just click on that, and you can have two tabs open at once. So if you are watching a video and want to take notes in the other one, on this side, you can. If you are working off of a web page on this side and want to be able to compare information to another website on this side, you can. The Tab Resize extension is great. And the other one, I'm actually going to turn it on now, is this one that's called CraftyCursor. And what it does, it puts like a little highlighter circle around your cursor. So if you are showing students a web page or you're trying to show them how to do something, this little cursor thing pops on for you. I'll leave the names of those extensions down below in case you want to download them yourselves. But a last one that I wanted to show you is Grammarly. I have Grammarly turned on all my websites. So whenever I'm typing something, it will check your spelling, it will check your grammar and give you suggestions as you're typing. So that's like a spell checker online, which I really enjoy using. So that one's always turned on. So in order to get your own extensions, you would just go again to settings. This is the way I do it. There's like a multitude of different ways to do it, but from settings, you can click on the extensions. So these are the ones that I already have installed. You can see my Grammarly, my CraftyCursor. I also have Honey installed. If you don't know what that is, it puts in coupon codes whenever you're shopping online. This is completely aside, but if you don't have Honey, I would definitely recommend getting that one. It just puts in any coupons when you're shopping online so you can save money. So in order to download your own, because these are the ones I already have, in order to download your own, you're going to want to open that little, I think it's called a hamburger or a sandwich button, menu, whatever it is, and then you're going to open the Chrome Web Store. And then here you can search and find any Chrome extensions that you may want. So if there is something that you want to be able to do on the internet and you can't, there's probably a Chrome extension for that. So these are the most my recommended, but you can search there, see if there's any that you like, or you can just go here and type in like CraftyCursor and it'll come up. There's also all kinds of other cursor extensions that you can look up. This is just the one that I've been using. Here it says rate it, but if you go to a different one that you are going to download, it won't say rate it, it'll say like download it or something. I'll just go to this one so that you can see. So it would say add to Chrome. I would just click that button and it's going to add it to your menu up here. And then once you want to use it, you just click on it and it'll open it back up. That extension just doesn't work on that tab. So those are extensions. There are so many different kinds. You can even search online and find some Chrome extensions that you would like to work with. Those are just the ones that I would highly recommend. I would highly recommend having Grammarly. The CraftyCursor one is great when you're showing things to students online, and the tab Resize, I'm using those ones all the time. So that is just Chrome extensions. So now that I've kind of shown you a little bit about how I use, how I customize my Google Chrome, I'm going to show you a little bit about Google Drive. So the first thing I want to show you before we actually move into our Google Drive, I want to make sure that you know that, see where I have my little picture here, and if I were to click on that, I'm not going to because it'll show you my personal information, but if I were to click on that, it'll show me that I have 3 other accounts that I can choose from. So I have my personal account, which is the one I'm on now. I have a business account, which is the one I use for my creative kindergarten. And then I also have one for the school board I work at. So if I'm doing something for work for the school board, I have to make sure that I'm logged in to my school board account. And all you have to do in order to switch around and do that is just click on this circle and it'll show a menu and it'll have all the different ones. And if it's not already signed in, you can add a new account and you can seamlessly switch to all your different accounts just by opening a new tab and clicking on that here. Because if you're working in, let's say, Google Drive under your personal account, you might not have access to all of the documents and things that your school board account would have. So you have to make sure you're logged into the right account whenever you're working on Google Chrome, because that's just a really important way. And I know that a lot of people don't necessarily know that you have to keep switching through accounts in order to be under the right one. And then they try to share something or they try to do something and it's not in the right account. And then you have to switch everything over and it kind of takes a little bit of time. So that's always my #1 rule is when you're switching roles in your life from like educator to your personal life, just make sure you're also switching through your Google account as well, just to make your life easier. But for now, I'm going to go into my Google Drive and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks in my actual Google Drive. So as you can see here, once it's loaded, I have a whole bunch of different folders that are color coded. I love color coding things and it just makes my life so much easier. And then once I see a color coded folder, I know like, oh, blue is my creative kindergarten folder. And you can see that I have some files here that I have not yet put into those folders. Those are not yet sectioned out. So let's start at the beginning. If I wanted to create a new folder, like you have not created any folders yet, you have not started organizing your Google Drive, you can go to new and then just click folder. And I'm just going to put test, and you're going to create it. And then a new Google folder will come up here where you can place different files. So if this is your personal account, you might have notes, or you might have, I don't know, recipes, you might have to-do list, whatever that may be, you might have different folders for each one. For your work, you might have folders for each student. You could have folders for literacy. You might have folders for math. You might have folders for staff meeting notes. You can have folders for any number of things. So when you're filing your different files and you come across something where you want to create a folder for, just create a new folder. So once you have it done, you've named it, you can right click on it and you can change the color of your folder to be any of the colors. I did rainbow, but really you could do any colors that you want. They could be all the same colors. You could change it up. And then once you have your folder set up, what you can do is drag and drop the file there if you want to. If when you're starting out you have a long list of files and you can't drag and drop them because it's too far down, you can right click on it and you can put move to, and it'll pop up a little menu, and you can go down, you can say test, and you can move it. And now it's moved into that folder. So when you go into the folder, you can see that the two files that I put here in here, they're actually the checklist forms that I created for a previous video on how to create checklists in Google Sheets. If you want to check that out, I'll put the link in the description of this video. And those are now in that test folder that I created. You can create folders within folders. So if you have, let's say you've created your literacy folder for all your literacy assessments and tracking and all that kind of stuff, and now you want to subdivide your literacy folder into literacy activities and literacy assessment, you can put subfolders within the folders themselves. So really the possibilities for organizing your Google Drive are endless, and I love the fact that you can put everything into folders, and so you're not constantly looking. One of the things that I was finding though was when I was creating all these folders, then when I was coming to look for a certain file, it was taking me forever because I had to keep clicking through all my folders and my subfolders in order to find the one that I actually really needed. And so it was kind of getting a little frustrating, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. But then I realized that there is a starred folder here. As you can see, there's a little star and it's a starred folder. And I realized that I can star my most used documents so that I can easily find them within my Google Drive. So we'll go to it now. And here I have my files that I use the most often when I am using my Google Drive. So I have ones that I go back to constantly. And so how you can do this for any of the files that you want to do, if there's a file that you go to often, what you would do is you would right click on the file that you are going to and just add to starred. And then once you go to your starred folder, it'll pop up there for you so that you don't have to keep going into all your files and looking for them. You can just go to your starred ones and all the ones that you need are right there. That's a really great trick that I learned. And another thing that what I did also was, because I'm constantly going to my Google Drive and using these documents, I was having to find my Google Drive every time, go to the start, and it's just taking me all these extra steps that I didn't need to. What I did was I favorited this part of my Google Drive. I favorited my starred page. So you can see that it's already favorited here, and I put it into my bookmark bar. And so right here, you can see my Google Drive is right there. So when I click on that, it brings me directly into my starred folder on my Google Drive. So I'm not having to constantly click on a bunch of different places. This has made my life so much easier. Definitely using this bookmark bar up here has helped me a lot. And I took out the title. So if you right click on it and you edit it, here, instead of having a name, I didn't put anything and I just took it out, because if I was to put Google, let's say Drive, it puts the words there, but I don't really need the words, and all these were really spread out and are taking up a lot of room, and I was running out of room on on my favorites bar. So what I just did was I edited out all the names and it just has the logo, but I know what each of these logos mean, so I don't necessarily need the words next to them. So I hope that helped you think of a few different ways that you can use Google Drive, a few different Google tips that you can use, like extensions and themes. If you have any questions about this video or anything that you would like me to explain more or go into a deeper dive into, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you and answer any of your questions. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you have any other video suggestions or anything that you would like to see from me, make sure you leave me a comment down below. And if you're not, make sure you're subscribed so you see whenever I put any new videos out on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you coming over and listening to this video. I hope it provided you with some tips and tricks that you can use when you're working online. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.